In this modern age of constant stimulation, where the cacophony of life seems to drown out our inner voice, we often forget the immense power that lies in silence. We have been conditioned to believe that action, noise, and constant movement are the keys to success and fulfillment. But I say to you, my beloved audience, that true power, true creation begins in the silence of your own being. Let us start by understanding what we mean by silence. I am not merely speaking of the absence of external noise, though that too has its place. The silence I speak of is a state of inner stillness, a quieting of the mind's incessant chatter, a cessation of the endless stream of thoughts that often cloud our consciousness and obscure our connection to the divine within us. This silence is not empty. It is full of infinite potential. It is the canvas upon which all of creation is painted. It is the womb of possibility from which all things are born. When you learn to access this silence, to dwell within it, you tap into the very source of all that is, was, and ever will be. Now, you might be wondering, but Neville, how can silence be powerful? Surely we must take action to achieve our goals and manifest our desires. To this, I say, look closer at the nature of creation itself. Does a seed struggle to become a tree? Does it strain and strive? No, it simply is, and in its being, it naturally grows into what it is meant to be. This is the essence of letting everything come to you naturally. It is not about passivity or inaction. It is about aligning yourself with the natural flow of creation, about becoming one with the silence from which all things emerge. When you do this, you will find that what you desire comes to you effortlessly, as naturally as a flower turns towards the sun. Consider for a moment the last time you tried to force something to happen in your life. Perhaps it was a relationship, a job opportunity, or a personal goal. Did your striving and struggling bring you closer to your desire? Or did it push it further away? In contrast, think of a time when something wonderful came into your life unexpectedly, effortlessly. It likely happened when you were in a state of acceptance, of inner peace. In other words, when you were in touch with the power of silence. This power of silence is not something external to you. It is not a force you need to acquire or develop. It is your very nature, your true essence. When you strip away all the layers of conditioning, all the beliefs and assumptions about who you are and what you're capable of, what remains is this silent, pure awareness, the I am that is the core of your being. In this silence, you will find that you are not separate from your desires. You are not reaching for something outside of yourself. You are the very thing you seek. This realization is the key to letting everything come to you naturally. For when you know that you are one with your desire, that it is already yours in the realm of infinite possibilities, you no longer need to strive or struggle. You can rest in the certainty that what is yours must inevitably come to you. But how, you may ask, do we access this silence in a world that seems designed to keep us distracted and disconnected from our true selves? The answer lies in the practice of stillness. This is not merely about sitting quietly, though that can be a helpful starting point. True stillness is a state of being, a way of moving through the world while remaining centered in the silence of your core. Begin by setting aside time each day for quiet contemplation. This is not meditation in the traditional sense, where you attempt to empty your mind of alls. Instead, it is a gentle turning inward, a shifting of your attention from the external world to the vast, silent space within you. As you do this, you may notice thoughts arising. Do not fight them or try to push them away. Simply observe them, like clouds passing across the sky of your consciousness. As you practice this stillness, you will begin to notice a shift in your perception. The constant mental chatter that once filled your mind will gradually subside, revealing the silence that has always been there, underlying all your thoughts and experiences. This silence is not empty or void. It is alive, vibrant, full of potential. In this silence, you will find that your desires take on a new quality. They no longer feel like something you lack, something you need to acquire or achieve. Instead, they become a natural expression of who you are. You begin to feel the reality of your desires, not as future possibilities, but as present facts. This is the state from which true creation occurs. When you dwell in this silence, letting go of all striving and allowing everything to come to you naturally, you align yourself with the creative power of the universe. You become a conduit through which your desires can flow into manifestation effortlessly. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, surely can't just sit in silence and expect things to happen. Don't we need to take action in the world? To this I say, of course, action has its place. But the action that springs from silence is of a different quality than action born of anxiety or lack. When you act from a place of inner silence, your actions are inspired. They flow naturally, effortlessly, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly what needs to be done. You find yourself in the right place at the right time, saying the right words, taking the right steps. This is not coincidence. It is the natural result of aligning yourself with the creative flow of the universe through the power of silence. Consider the great artists, inventors, and visionaries throughout history. Their greatest insights and creations often came not through hard work and struggle, but in moments of silence and stillness. Einstein spoke of his theory of relativity coming to him and to him. Mozart described his compositions as arriving fully formed in his mind. These are examples of the power of silence at work, allowing everything to come naturally. But let us delve deeper into this concept of letting everything come to you naturally. This is not about passivity or resignation. It is about cultivating a state of active receptivity. In the silence of your being, you become like a tuning fork, resonating with the frequency of your desires. As you maintain this resonance, you naturally attract experiences, opportunities, and circumstances that are in harmony with your desire. This process is as natural and effortless as a flower turning towards the sun. The flower doesn't strain or struggle. It simply responds to the light. In the same way, when you dwell in the silence of your true self, you naturally orient yourself towards the fulfillment of your desires. Now I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, what about the challenges and obstacles we face in life? How can we overcome these through silence? My dear friends, what you perceive as obstacles are manifestations of your own doubts and fears. When you enter into the silence of your being, these perceived obstacles begin to dissolve. In the silence, you connect with your true nature as a limitless divine being. From this perspective, challenges are not roadblocks, but opportunities for growth and expansion. When you face life's challenges from this place of inner silence, you respond with wisdom and grace rather than reacting from fear or anxiety. Let me share with you a powerful practice to help you cultivate this state of silence and allow everything to come to you naturally. I call it the I Am meditation. Find a quiet place where it won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and take a deep breath, allowing your body to relax. Now turn your attention inward and simply observe the phrase of I Am in your mind. Don't try to add anything to it. Just be with the pure awareness of I Am. As thoughts arise, gently return your focus to I Am. As you do this, you may begin to sense a vast silence underlying the I Am. This silence is your true nature. Rest in it, be it. As you practice this meditation regularly, you'll find that this sense of silent, pure awareness begins to permeate your daily life. You'll notice a new ease and flow in your experiences. Things that once seemed difficult or impossible will start to resolve themselves naturally. This is the power of silence at work in your life. Let us address a common misconception about this approach to life. Some may think that letting everything come naturally means abandoning all goals and aspirations. Nothing could be further from the truth. The power of silence does not negate desire. It purifies and elevates it. In the silence of your being, your desires are no longer born of lack or fear. They become pure expressions of your divine nature, aligned with the highest good for all. When you allow these purified desires to manifest naturally, you contribute to the harmony in the entire universe. Consider the way a mighty oak tree grows. It doesn't force its way up from the ground. It doesn't strain to produce leaves or branches. It simply expresses its nature, responding to the sun, the rain, the seasons. Yet in doing so, it provides shelter for countless creatures, enriches the soil, produces oxygen, and adds beauty to the world. In the same way, when you allow your desires to manifest naturally from the silence of your being, you become a force for good in the world. Your success, your joy, your fulfillment ripples out, touching and uplifting all those around you. But what about the times when things don't seem to be going our way? When despite our best efforts to remain in silence, the world seems chaotic and our desires feel far from manifestation. This, my dear friends, is when the power of silence is most crucial. In these moments of apparent discord, the temptation is to react, to try to force things back into alignment through sheer will. But I say to you, this is the time to go deeper into the silence. For it is in the depths of silence that you will find the truth that transcends all appearances. In silence, you reconnect with the unchanging reality of your being. You remember that you are not your circumstances, not your emotions, not your thoughts. You are the awareness in which all these things arise and pass away. From this perspective, you can observe the chaos without being swept away by it. As you maintain this silent awareness, you may find that what seemed like obstacles, setbacks, were actually necessary steps in the unfolding of your desire. The silence gives you the wisdom to see the bigger picture, to trust in the perfect timing of the universe. Let me share with you a powerful technique to maintain this silent awareness, even in the midst of life's challenges. I call it the observer practice. Throughout your day, no matter what you're doing, cultivate the habit of observing your thoughts, emotions, and reactions as if you were watching a movie. Don't judge or try to change what you observe. Simply watch with detached interest. As you do this, you'll begin to notice a subtle shift. You'll start to identify less with the content of your experience and more with the silent awareness that observes it all. This practice allows you to maintain your connection to the power of silence, even as you go about your daily activities. It creates a space between stimulus and response, giving you the freedom to choose your reactions rather than being controlled by habitual patterns. Now, let us explore how this power of silence relates to your interactions with others. In our relationships, we often feel compelled to fill every moment with words, to constantly express our thoughts and opinions. But true connection, true understanding often happens in the spaces between words. When you learn to be comfortable with silence in your relationships, you open up a new level of communication. You become more attuned to the unspoken, more sensitive to the subtle energies that flow between people. This silent attunement allows for deeper understanding and more harmonious interactions. Moreover, when you are grounded in your own inner silence, you become a calming presence for others. Without saying a word, you can help others connect with their own inner peace. This is how you become a transformative force in the world through preaching or persuading, but simply by being a living embodiment of the power of silence. As we delve deeper into this topic, let us consider how the power of silence relates to the creative process. Whether you are an artist, a business person, or simply someone looking to bring more creativity into your life, silence is your greatest ally. In the silence, you tap into the infinite wellspring of creativity that lies within you. Ideas and inspirations arise naturally and unforced. Solutions to problems present themselves effortlessly. The silence clears away the mental clutter that often blocks our creative flow, allowing fresh, original thoughts to emerge. But this creative silence is not just about receiving ideas. It's also about allowing those ideas to gestate and mature. Just as a seed needs the darkness and quiet of the soil to grow, your ideas need time in the silence to develop fully. Resist the urge to immediately act on every idea that comes to you. Instead, hold it gently in the silence, allowing it to unfold naturally. This patience, this trust in the natural unfolding of your creative process is a powerful application of letting everything come to you naturally. It requires releasing the ego's need for immediate results and trusting in the wisdom of silence. Now, my dear friends, as we approach the conclusion of our exploration, I want to address a question that may be arising in your minds. How do I maintain this connection to silence in a world that seems to demand constant action and noise? The answer lies in understanding that silence is not something you do. It's something you are. It's your natural state, your true essence. The noise and busyness, that never truly touch this inner silence. It remains ever present, always available to you. The key is to regularly remind yourself of this truth. Throughout your day, take moments to pause and reconnect with the silence within you. It might be as simple as taking a deep breath and feeling the space between your thoughts, or it could be a longer period of quiet contemplation. As you make this a habit, you'll find that the silence begins to permeate all aspects of your life. It becomes the foundation from which you operate the wellspring of your thoughts, words, and actions. You begin to move through the world with a sense of ease and grace, allowing everything to come to you naturally. Remember, this is not about escaping from the world or denying your experiences. It's about engaging with life from a place of deep inner stillness. From this place, you can fully participate in the dance of life while remaining rooted in the unchanging silence of your being. As we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a powerful visualization to help you integrate this understanding of the power of silence. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself as a vast, clear lake. The surface of the lake may have ripples caused by the wind of your thoughts and experiences, but beneath the surface, in the depths of the lake, there is perfect stillness. This still depth is your true nature. It remains undisturbed regardless of what happened on the surface. As you go about your day, remember this image. When life becomes turbulent, when your mind becomes noisy, recall the stillness at your core. Let it anchor you, guide you, remind you of your true nature. In conclusion, my beloved audience, remember that the power of silence is always within you. It is not something you need to acquire or achieve. It is your birthright, your true nature. As you learn to dwell in this silence, to let it infuse every aspect of your life, you will find that everything you desire comes to you naturally, effortlessly. You are not separate from your desires. You are not reaching for something outside of yourself. In the silence of your being, you are one with all that you seek. Trust in this truth. Rest in the silence. Allow life to unfold naturally, knowing that you are supported by the infinite wisdom and power of the universe. Go forth from here not as seekers, but as knowers. Know the power of silence that resides within you. Know that as you align with this silence, everything you desire must inevitably come to you. For you are not merely human beings subject to the whims of circumstance. You are divine beings, co-creators with the infinite power of the universe. Let the silence be your guide. Let it be the foundation of your thoughts, your words, your actions. As you do this, you will find that life becomes a joyous adventure, a natural unfolding of all that you are meant to be and experience. Thank you for your attention, my friends. May your journey into the power of silence be filled with wonder, joy, and the continual unfolding of your infinite potential. Remember, in the silence, all things are possible. Trust in the silence, and let everything come to you naturally. When you try to get health, you are sick. When you try to get wealth, you are poor. When you try to get love, you are lonely. The very trying keeps you in the state opposite to what you desire. It is like a man drowning who struggles so violently that he prevents his own rescue. The harder he fights against the water, the more surely he sinks. But when he relaxes, when he stops fighting, when he allows himself to float, he discovers that the water that seemed his enemy becomes his support. I want you to understand something fundamental about the nature of reality. Everything that you could ever want already exists. Not in some far-off heaven, not in some distant future, but right here, right now, in this very moment. The infinite intelligence that creates and sustains this universe has already provided everything. Every desire that ever been born in the human heart has its corresponding fulfillment in the invisible realm of infinite possibility. But here is a mystery that has confounded humanity for centuries. These things exist in a dimension that can only be entered through feeling, through assumption, through the bold act of occupying the state of having rather than wanting. You cannot think your way into this dimension. You cannot work your way into it. You cannot struggle your way into it. You can only feel your way into it. Tonight, I want to take you on a journey into the very heart of creation itself. I want to show you how the universe actually works, not as the material scientists would have you believe, with their theories of random chance and mechanical causation, but as it truly is, A universe of infinite imagination where consciousness is the only reality and everything else is merely its projection. Consider for a moment the nature of your own experience. Right now, as you sit here listening to these words, everything you are aware of exists within your consciousness. The sounds you hear, the sights you see, the thoughts you think, the feelings you feel, all of it is taking place within the theater of your own awareness. You never actually experience anything outside of your consciousness. You only experience your consciousness of things. This is not mere philosophy, my friends. This is the practical foundation upon which all manifestation rests. If consciousness is all that you ever experience, then consciousness must be the substance from which all experience is made. And if consciousness is the substance of experience, then by changing consciousness, you change experience. By changing the state of your consciousness, you change the world. Now, when I say stop trying to get it, I mean stop living in the consciousness of not having it. Stop affirming through your feelings that it is absent from your life. Stop approaching your desires from the outside as if they were foreign to you, as if they belonged to someone else, as if they required permission from some external authority. Your desires are not foreign to you. They are not accidents or coincidences. They are the voice of your own deeper self calling you home to your true nature. Every desire is a prophecy of its own fulfillment. Every longing is a promise from the infinite that what you seek is seeking you. But the promise can only be fulfilled when you stop trying to grab it from the outside and instead learn to occupy it from within. Let me illustrate this with a story that will make clear the principle I am sharing with you. There was once a man who desperately wanted to be wealthy. Day and night he thought about money. He visualized having money. He affirmed that money was coming to him. He tried every technique he had ever heard of to attract wealth into his life. But the harder he tried, the more elusive wealth became. His very effort was pushing it away from him. One day, exhausted by his efforts and discouraged by his continued poverty, he decided to give up. He said to himself, I am tired of wanting. I am tired of trying. I am tired of being poor in my own mind. And in that moment of surrender, in that moment of ceasing to try, something extraordinary happened. He felt different. Not hopeful that wealth was coming, he felt wealthy. Not believing that he would have money, he felt like he had money. And from that moment of inner transformation, his outer world began to rearrange itself. Opportunities appeared that he had never noticed before. People offered him possibilities that had always been there, but which he had been too busy trying to see. Money began to flow to him through channels he had never imagined. And he realized that wealth had always been his, waiting for him to stop trying to set it and simply be it. This is the great secret, my friends. You don't get things. You become them. You don't attract conditions. You embody them. You don't manifest from emptiness. You manifest from fullness. And the fullness is already yours. It has always been yours. It is your birthright, your natural inheritance as a child of the infinite. But how do you stop trying? How do you cease the effort that seems so natural, so necessary, so obviously required? The answer lies in understanding what trying really is and what it does to your consciousness. Trying is always future tense. When you try to get something, you are affirming that you will have it someday, but not now. You are pushing your good into an imaginary tomorrow that never comes. Because when tomorrow arrives, it is always today. And if you are still trying, you are still pushing your good into the next tomorrow. Trying is also effortful. It involves strain, struggle, force. It comes from the belief that you must overcome resistance, that you must fight against opposing forces, that you must earn your good through hard work and dedication. But I tell you tonight that the universe requires no such payment. Your good comes not through effort, but through acceptance, not through struggle, but through surrender, not through trying, but through being. The moment you stop trying to get it, you create space for it to be. The moment you cease your efforts to attract it, you discover that it was never absent. The moment you quit pushing for it to happen, You realize that it has already happened in the one place where all happening truly occurs, in consciousness itself. Now I want to address those of you who are thinking, but Neville, if I don't try, if I don't work toward my goals, if I don't make an effort, how will anything ever change? How will I ever get what I want? This question reveals a fundamental misunderstanding about the nature of action and the source of all effective action. There are two kinds of action in this world. There is action that comes from trying, and there is action that comes from being. Action that comes from trying is forced, effortful, strained. It originates in the belief that you lack something and must go out and get it. This kind of action often produces the opposite of what you want because it is rooted in the consciousness of not having. But action that comes from being is natural, effortless, inspired. It flows from the consciousness of already having, of already being what you want to be. When you embody the state of your fulfilled desire, when you live in the feeling of having what you want, right action happens automatically. You don't have to figure out what to do. You don't have to force doors to open. You simply move as your fulfilled self would move, and the world rearranges itself to match your inner state. This is why I say stop trying to get it. Not because I want you to become passive or inactive, but because I want your action to flow from the right source. I want your doing to emerge from your being rather than from your lacking. I want your efforts to be the natural expression of your fulfillment rather than the desperate attempts of your emptiness. Let me share with you the technique that makes this possible, the method that allows you to transition from trying to being, from wanting to having, from seeking to finding. It is elegantly simple, which is why so many people overlook it in favor of more complicated approaches. Before you sleep each night, instead of trying to get what you want, assume that you already have it. Don't visualize yourself getting it. Don't imagine it coming to you in the future. Don't see yourself working toward it or struggling for it. Simply assume the feeling of having it now, in this moment, as a present reality. If you want health, don't try to get healthy. Feel healthy. If you want love, don't try to find love. Feel loved. If you want success, don't try to become successful. Feel successful. The feeling is the secret. And the feeling must be present tense. It must be now. It must be real in your experience, regardless of what your senses may be reporting. This is not pretending. This is not wishful thinking. This is not self-deception. This is the conscious use of the creative power that is your birthright as a human being. You are not pretending to have what you want. You are actually having it in the only place where having truly occurs, in consciousness. And consciousness, being the only reality, makes it real. The physical world that you see with your eyes is nothing more than consciousness made visible. It is the outpicturing of inner states, the externalization of internal conditions, the manifestation of mental and emotional patterns. When you change the pattern within, the picture without must change to correspond. This is not a belief. This is not a hope. This is a law as reliable as the law of gravity. But here is where most people stumble. They try this approach for a few days or a few weeks, and when they don't see immediate external changes, they conclude that it doesn't work. They go back to trying, back to efforting, back to the old consciousness of lack and limitation. They don't understand that there is often a time interval between the inner change and its outer expression, just as there is a time interval between planting a seed and harvesting the crop. You must persist in the new state. You must continue to live in the feeling of having what you want, regardless of current circumstances, regardless of what others may say, regardless of how long it seems to be taking. Your persistence in the assumption creates the externalization. Your faithfulness to the inner reality births the outer manifestation. I have seen people transform their entire lives using this principle. I have watched the sick become well, the poor become prosperous, the lonely find love, the despairing discover joy. But in every case, the transformation began the moment they stopped trying to get what they wanted and started being what they wanted to be. There was a woman who came to me years ago, desperate to marry a particular man who seemed completely uninterested in her. She had tried everything she could think of to get his attention, to win his affection. to make him see her as a potential partner. The harder she tried, the further he seemed to move away from her. She was exhausted by her efforts and heartbroken by their lack of success. I told her what I'm telling you tonight: stop trying to get him, and you'll have him. Instead of trying to make him love you, assume that he already does. Instead of working to win his heart, live in the feeling that his heart is already yours. Instead of hoping for a future with him, dwell in the reality of being his beloved right now. At first she protested. She said, "But Neville, that's not true. He doesn't love me. We're not together. How can I feel like his beloved when the facts clearly show otherwise?" And I replied, "My dear, the facts are nothing more than the outpicturing of yesterday's assumptions. If you want different facts, you must make different assumptions. The assumption persistently maintained becomes the fact." She agreed to try this approach, though I could see she had doubts. But something wonderful happened. The moment she stopped trying to get his love and started living in the assumption of being loved by him, she began to change. She became more confident, more radiant, more attractive. She stopped the desperate behaviors that had been pushing him away. She started moving through the world as a woman who was deeply loved, and that inner state began to be reflected in her outer experience. Within 3 months, he had noticed a change in her and was drawn to her new energy. Within 6 months, he was pursuing her with the same intensity she had once pursued him. Within a year, they were married. But the marriage was not the result of her trying to get him. It was the natural expression of her assumption that she was already his beloved. This principle applies to every area of life because it is the fundamental principle of creation itself. You are always living in some assumption about yourself and your world. You are always occupying some state of consciousness. The question is not whether you will assume and embody a state. You are already doing that every moment of every day. The question is which state you will choose to occupy. Most people occupy states by default. They react to circumstances rather than creating them. They let their external environment determine their internal state rather than letting their internal state determine their external environment. They try to feel good when things go well instead of making things go well by feeling good first. But you can choose your state. You can select the consciousness you wish to occupy. You can decide which version of yourself you want to be. And when you make that choice and persist in it, the world has no option but to reflect it back to you. I want you to understand that this is not about positive thinking or optimistic attitudes. This is about occupying the consciousness of your desire fulfilled. There is a vast difference between thinking positively about what you want and actually feeling yourself to be in possession of it. Positive thinking often maintains the separation between you and your desire by keeping it in the category of something you hope for. But the assumption I'm teaching you tonight collapses that separation entirely when you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You are not hoping for it, wishing for it, or even believing it will come. You are experiencing it as a present reality in consciousness, and consciousness is the only reality there is. Everything else is merely its shadow, its reflection, its outer expression. This is why the Bible tells us to pray believing that we have already received what we ask for. Not that we will receive it, but that we have received it. The receiving happens first in consciousness, and then it appears in what we call the physical world. But consciousness is the real world. Everything else is just its projection. Now let me address those of you who are concerned about letting go of effort entirely. You may be thinking, if I stop trying, won't I become lazy? Won't I stop taking action? Won't I just sit around waiting for things to happen? These concerns reveal a misunderstanding about what it means to stop trying. When I tell you to stop trying to get what you want, I am not telling you to become passive or inactive. I am telling you to stop acting from the consciousness of lack and start acting from the consciousness of fulfillment. I am telling you to stop efforting from emptiness and start expressing from fullness. When you truly embody the state of having what you want, action becomes natural and inspired. You don't have to force yourself to do things. You don't have to push yourself to move forward. You simply find yourself naturally doing the things that someone in your desired state would do. The action flows from being rather than from trying. A person who truly feels wealthy doesn't have to try to make money. They naturally think and act in ways that create wealth. A person who truly feels healthy doesn't have to try to get well. They naturally make choices that support their health. A person who truly feels love doesn't have to try to find love. They naturally attract love by being lovable. This is the great paradox. When you stop trying to get it, you naturally do the things that bring it to you. When you cease the effort to attract it, you become attractive to it. When you quit pushing for it to happen, you align yourself with its natural flow into your experience. But remember, this alignment happens first within consciousness. The outer actions are secondary. They are the effect, not the cause. The cause is always the state of consciousness you choose to occupy, the assumption you choose to maintain, the feeling you choose to live in. Let me tell you about a man who understood this principle profoundly. He wanted to be a successful author, but he had been trying for years to get published with no success. He would write furiously, submit manuscripts everywhere, network tirelessly, and study the market obsessively. But the harder he tried, the more rejections he received. He was becoming bitter and discouraged. Then he heard about this principle of stopping the effort to get what you want. At first it seemed counterintuitive to him. How could he become a successful author without trying to become one? But he was desperate enough to experiment with a different approach. Instead of trying to become a successful author, he began to assume that he already was one. Instead of hoping for publication, he lived in the feeling of being published. Instead of working to achieve success, he embodied the consciousness of success already achieved. Something remarkable happened. As he lived in this assumption day after day, his writing began to change. It became more confident, more authentic, more powerful. He stopped writing what he thought publishers wanted and started writing what flowed naturally from his consciousness of being a successful author. He stopped submitting desperately to every possible outlet and started choosing opportunities that aligned with his inner state of success. Within 6 months, he had received his first acceptance. Within 2 years, he had published his first bestseller. But more importantly, he had become what he wanted to be in consciousness first, and the external success was simply the natural expression of that inner reality. This is how creation works, my friends. First the inner, then the outer. First the consciousness, then the condition. First the assumption, then the fact. You don't work your way into the consciousness of success. You assume the consciousness of success and then let it work its way into your experience. Now I want to address the role of desire itself in this process. Many of you have been taught that desire is somehow wrong or sinful, that wanting things is unspiritual, that you should be content with whatever you have. This teaching has created tremendous confusion and has kept countless people trapped in lives of limitation and lack. Your desires are not your enemies. They are your friends. They are the voice of your deeper self calling you to expand, to grow, to become more than you currently are. Every desire is a gift from the infinite, a promise of what is possible for you, a preview of your own potential coming into manifestation. But here is the key. Desire is meant to inform you about what you want, not to keep you in a state of wanting. Desire is meant to show you the direction of your expansion, not to become a permanent residence of longing and lack. Desire is meant to inspire your assumption, not to become a chronic condition of frustration. When you truly understand this principle, you begin to see desire differently. Instead of being tortured by your wants, you become grateful for them because they show you what you are meant to become. Instead of being frustrated by your longings, you use them as launching pads for new assumptions about yourself. The moment you desire something, you have been given the capacity to have it. The very fact that you can conceive of it means it exists in the realm of possibility for you. Your job is not to figure out how to get it, or when it will come, or whether you deserve it. Your job is simply to assume the feeling of having it and to persist in that assumption until it hardens into fact. This brings us to one of the most important aspects of this teaching, the question of time. Many people apply this principle for a short while and then abandon when they don't see immediate results. They don't understand that there is often what appears to be a time lag between the inner assumption and its outer manifestation. But I tell you that there is no real time lag. Manifestation happens instantly in consciousness, which is the only place where anything ever really happens. What we call the time lag is simply the period required for consciousness to reorganize the seemingly external world to match the inner pattern. Think of it this way. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust that the natural processes are at work, even though you can't see them. You water it, you give it sunlight, and you wait patiently for the visible growth to appear. The same principle applies to the seeds of assumption you plant in consciousness. Your assumptions are seeds planted in the fertile soil of infinite creativity. Your persistence in maintaining the assumption is the watering and feeding of that seed. Your faith in the process, regardless of current appearances, is the sunlight that allows it to grow. And just as surely as a planted seed will eventually break through the soil and become a visible plant, your assumption will eventually break through the current circumstances and become a visible fact. But you must persist. You must continue to water the seed with your assumption. You must continue to feed it with your feeling. You must continue to give it the sunlight of your faith. If you stop, if you dig up the seed by returning to the old consciousness of lack, you abort the process and must begin again. This is why I emphasize the importance of the state you assume before sleep. Sleep is the most creative time, when your conscious mind with all its doubts and arguments is quiet, when your subconscious mind is most receptive to impression, when the assumptions you maintain have the deepest impact on your consciousness. Make it your practice every single night without exception to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled as you drift off to sleep. Don't analyze it, don't question it, don't wonder how it will come to pass. Simply feel yourself to be what you want to be, to have what you want to have, to live the life you want to live. Fall asleep in that assumption and let the creative forces of your own infinite nature work throughout the night to make it so. Many people try this for a few nights and then forget about it or get distracted by other techniques or methods. But I tell you that consistency is the key. Make this assumption every single night. Let it become as natural and automatic as breathing. Let it become your new way of being rather than something you do occasionally when you remember. As you persist in this practice, you will begin to notice changes in your waking consciousness. You will find yourself naturally thinking, feeling, and acting from the consciousness of your fulfilled desire. You will discover that you no longer need to try to be positive or optimistic, because positivity and optimism flow naturally from the consciousness of having what you want. You will also notice that your relationship with your current circumstances begins to change. Instead of being discouraged by what you don't yet see, you will be patient and confident because you know that the inner work has already been done. Instead of being anxious about the future, you will be peaceful in the present because you are already living in the consciousness of your fulfilled desire. This inner transformation is actually more important than the outer manifestation, though the outer manifestation will surely follow. You see, the real goal is not just to get what you want, but to become what you want to be. The real prize is not just the external condition, but the internal consciousness that creates and sustains all external conditions. When you learn to assume any state at will, when you discover that you can occupy any consciousness you choose, when you realize that you can become anything you desire to be simply the feeling or signing of being it, you have found the master key to life itself. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances. You are the creator of circumstances. You are no longer the effect of conditions. You are the cause of conditions. This is your true nature, my friends. You are not a victim of the world. You are the creator of your world. You are not subject to forces outside yourself. You are the force that determines your own experience. You are not a beggar hoping for scraps from the table of life. You are the host of the feast, able to create whatever menu you desire. But to claim this power, you must stop trying to get it and simply be it. You must stop approaching it from the outside and start expressing it from within. You must stop seeking it in the future and start living it in the present. You must stop believing you need to become worthy and start knowing that you already are worthy of it simply by virtue of being able to conceive of it. As we come toward the close of our time together tonight, I want to leave you with a clear understanding of what this means for your daily life. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, you have a choice. You can wake up in the consciousness of wanting what you don't have, or you can wake up in the consciousness of having what you want. You can spend your day trying to get what you desire, or you can spend your day what you desire. If you choose to be what you desire, if you choose to live in the assumption of your wish fulfilled, you will find that your entire day unfolds differently. The people you meet, the opportunities that present themselves, the ideas that come to you, the circumstances that arise, all of these will be different because you are different. You are no longer a person trying to get something. You are a person who has something, and having something creates very different experiences than wanting something. This transformation doesn't require years of study or complicated techniques or expensive courses or special initiations. It requires only your willingness to stop trying to get what you want and start being what you want to be. It requires only your decision to live in the assumption of your desire fulfilled rather than in the consciousness of your desire unfulfilled. The power to do this is yours right now. You don't need to develop it or earn it or deserve it. You already have it. You have always had it. It is your birthright as a conscious being. The only question is whether you will use it consciously and deliberately, or whether you will continue to use it unconsciously and by default. Every moment of every day, you are assuming something about yourself and your world. You are occupying some state of consciousness. You are living in some feeling about your life. Right now, you can choose to make these assumptions consciously rather than unconsciously. You can choose to occupy the state you prefer rather than the state you have inherited. You can choose to live in the feeling of fulfillment rather than the feeling of lack. This choice is always available to you. No matter what has happened in your past, no matter what your current circumstances may be, no matter what others may think or say about you, you always have the power to assume a new state, to occupy a new consciousness, to live in a new feeling about yourself and your possibilities. The person who truly understands this teaching never again feels powerless. They may face challenges, they may encounter obstacles, they may go through difficult periods, but underneath it all, they know that they have the power to create their experience through the consciousness they choose to maintain. They know that every situation is temporary and malleable, subject to change through the simple but powerful practice of assumption. This is the message I leave with you tonight. You already are what you want to be. You already have what you want to have. You already live the life you want to live. These things exist in consciousness, waiting for you to recognize them, to accept them, to assume them as true. Stop trying to get what you already have. Stop working to become what you already are. Stop struggling to achieve what is already achieved in the one place where all achievement occurs, in your own infinite consciousness. Take this truth home with you. Sleep in it tonight. Wake up in it tomorrow. Live in it every day. And watch as your world transforms to match the new consciousness you have chosen to embody. This is not just philosophy, my friends. This is not just positive thinking. This is the very mechanics of creation itself, the secret of secrets, the way the universe actually works. You came here tonight seeking an answer, and I have given you the answer. Not just an answer to your particular problem or desire, but the answer to all problems, the solution to all challenges, the key to all doors. Stop trying to get it, and you'll have it. Assume the feeling of having it. Persist in that assumption and watch as it becomes your living reality. The power is yours. The method is simple. The results are guaranteed. All that remains is for you to begin. Imagine, if you will, that your current reality, every aspect of your life as you know it, is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your assumptions about yourself and the world around you. These are the architects of your experience. And just as a mirror faithfully reflects the image before it, so too does your outer world reflect the state of your inner being. But here's the magnificent truth that I want you to grasp with every fiber of your being. You are not a passive observer in this grand play of life. You are the author, the director, and the lead actor in your own magnificent story. The power to shift your energy, to transform your reality, lies dormant within you at this very moment, waiting to be awakened. Now, let us delve deeper into the nature of this energy shift. It is not something external to you, not some mystical force that you must seek outside yourself. No, this shift occurs within the depths of your consciousness. It is a fundamental change in your perception, in your understanding of who you truly are and what you're capable of achieving. Consider for a moment the many states of consciousness you experience throughout your day. You move from wakefulness to sleep, from joy to sorrow, from confidence to doubt. Each of these states carries its own unique energy, its own vibrational frequency. And it is this energy that shapes your experience of reality. The key to transforming your reality lies in your ability to consciously choose and maintain the energy state that aligns with your desires. This, my friends, is the essence of the energy shift we speak of tonight. It is the art of aligning your inner state with the reality you wish to experience. Now, you might be wondering, how do I achieve this energy shift? How do I align my inner state with my desired reality? The answer, as always, lies in the power of your imagination. For it is through your imagination that you can step into the energy of your desired state, feeling it as real and present now. Imagine, if you will, that your desire has already been fulfilled. See it, feel it, taste it, touch it in your mind's eye. Allow every sense to be saturated with the reality of your fulfilled desire. This, my dear friends, is not mere daydreaming or wishful thinking. This is the active, conscious use of your imagination to shift your energy into alignment with your desire. As you engage in this practice, you'll begin to notice a subtle but profound change in your being. The energy of lack, of wanting, of striving begins to dissolve, replaced by a deep sense of fulfillment, of completeness. This is the energy shift in action, transforming your inner world and, by extension, your outer reality. But let me caution you, this is not a practice to be undertaken lightly or haphazardly. It requires dedication, persistence, and above all, faith. Faith not in some external power, but in the power of your own imagination to shape your reality. For as you sow in your imagination, so shall you reap in your experience. Now, let us explore the mechanics of this energy shift in greater detail. Understand that every thought you think, every emotion you feel, carries its own unique vibrational frequency. These vibrations ripple out into the universe, attracting experiences and circumstances that match their frequency. This is the fundamental law of attraction at work, the principle that like attracts like. When you exist in a state of lack, of wanting, of striving, you emit a frequency that attracts more of the same. You perpetuate the very circumstances you wish to change. But when you shift your energy to one of fulfillment, of abundance, of joy, you begin to attract experiences that match this new frequency. This is why it's crucial to guard the door of your mind, to be vigilant about the thoughts you entertain and the emotions you cultivate. Every moment of your day is an opportunity to choose your energy state, to align yourself with the reality you desire to experience. But how, you might ask, can one maintain this energy shift in the face of contrary evidence? When the world around you seems to contradict your inner knowing, how do you hold fast to your desired state? This, my friends, is where the true test of your faith comes in. Remember, the world you see around you is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. It is not the cause of your experience, but the effect. As you persist in your new state, as you continue to feed your mind with the thoughts and feelings of your desire fulfilled, the outer world has no choice but to conform to this new inner reality. This is the true meaning of living in the end. It is not about waiting for your desire to manifest before you can feel fulfilled. It is about stepping into the energy of fulfillment now, regardless of outer circumstances. For when you do this, when you truly embody the energy of your desire fulfilled, you set in motion the forces that will bring about its physical manifestation. Now let us address a common misconception. Many believe that this energy shift requires constant effort, a perpetual state of doing, but the truth is quite the opposite. The energy shift we speak of is not about doing, but about being. It's about relaxing into the state of your wish fulfilled, allowing it to permeate your entire being. Think of it as tuning a radio. You don't struggle and strain to pick up a particular frequency. You simply turn the dial until you find the station you want, and then you relax and enjoy the broadcast. Similarly, you use your imagination to tune into the frequency of your desire fulfilled. Then you relax into that state, allowing it to play out in your experience. This state of relaxed awareness, of knowing that your desire is already yours, is the most powerful state you can cultivate. It is from this state that true miracles unfold. For when you are relaxed and confident in the reality of your desire, you open yourself to inspired action, to divine timing, to the perfect unfolding of events that will bring your desire into physical form. But let me be clear, this is not about passivity or inaction. The energy shift we speak of does not negate the need for action in the physical world. Rather, it transforms the nature of that action. Instead of action born of struggle and striving, you engage in inspired action, action that flows naturally from your new state of being. When you have truly shifted your energy, when you are living from the state of your desire fulfilled, you'll find that the right actions present themselves effortlessly. Opportunities will arise, doors will open, and you'll be guided to take the perfect steps to bring your desire into physical manifestation. Now let us delve deeper into the practical application of this energy shift. How do you maintain this new state in the face of daily challenges and distractions? The key lies in developing a new habit of mind, a new way of perceiving and interpreting your experiences. Begin by setting aside time each day for conscious imagination. This is not mere visualization, but a full sensory experience in your mind. See your desire fulfilled. Feel the emotions associated with it. Hear the congratulations of others. Touch and taste and smell the reality of your fulfilled desire. Make this imaginal act so vivid, so real, that when you open your eyes, the physical world seems pale in comparison. As you go about your day, carry this feeling with you. Let it color your perceptions, influence your reactions. When challenges arise, and they will, for that is the nature of life, remind yourself that these are merely shadows of old energy patterns. They have no power over your new state unless you give it to them. Practice the art of revision. At the end of each day, replay events in your imagination, not as they occurred, but as you would have wished them to occur. This is not about denying reality, but about exercising your power to choose which version of events you energize and perpetuate. Remember, every moment is a new opportunity to shift your energy. If you find yourself slipping into old patterns of thought and emotion, gently but firmly bring yourself back to your desired state. It's not about perfection, but about persistence. Each time you choose your desired state over your habitual reactions, you strengthen the new energy pattern. As you persist in this practice, you'll begin to notice subtle changes in your outer world. Perhaps people will react to you differently. Opportunities might present themselves unexpectedly. Synchronicities may become more frequent. These are all signs that your energy shift is taking effect, that your outer world is beginning to align with your inner state. But here's a crucial point. Do not become attached to these outer manifestations. Do not use them as a measure of your success or failure. For the moment you start looking for proof in the outer world, you shift your energy back to a state of lack of needing evidence. Instead, maintain your faith in the unseen reality of your imagination. Trust in the perfect unfolding of your desire, knowing that what is imagined must by cosmic law be made manifest. Now let us address a question that often arises. What about the desires of others? What if your desire seems to conflict with someone else's? This is where many stumble in their practice, allowing doubt and guilt to creep in and disrupt their energy shift. But consider this: in the infinite abundance of the universe, there is no lack, no limitation. Your good does not come at the expense of another's. When you shift your energy to a state of fulfillment, you do not deprive others. In fact, you inspire them, you lift them up. For as you raise your own vibration, you raise the vibration of those around you. Moreover, you cannot know the innermost desires of another. What may seem like a conflict on the surface level of innocence may, in fact, be the perfect unfolding for all involved. Your task is not to manipulate others or to force outcomes, but to remain faithful to your own inner knowing, your own energy shift. This brings us to another important aspect of the energy shift: detachment from the how. Many become frustrated when their desire doesn't manifest in the exact way or time frame they expected. But this frustration, this attachment to a particular outcome, is itself a form of resistance that blocks the free flow of energy. Remember, the universe has infinite channels through which your desire can be fulfilled. Your task is not to figure out how it will happen, but to maintain the energy of it already being done. As you relax into this knowing, as you detach from the need to control the process, you open yourself to miracles beyond your wildest imagination. This detachment is not indifference. It is not about not caring whether your desire manifests or not. Rather, it is a deep trust in the perfect unfolding of your desire, coupled with a willingness to be surprised and delighted by the way it comes about. It is about enjoying the journey, savoring the state of your wish fulfilled, rather than anxiously waiting for a particular outcome. Now let us address a common pitfall in this practice: the temptation to use this energy shift as a means of escape from present circumstances. Many, when they first discover this power, attempt to use it to run away from unpleasant situations or emotions. But this is a misuse of the law, and it will not yield the desired results. The energy shift we speak of is not about denial or escape. It is about transformation. It's about facing your current reality with clear eyes, acknowledging it for what it is, and then consciously choosing to shift your energy to a new state. This requires courage, for it means fully accepting where you are even as you choose to move to where you want to be. Moreover, it requires a willingness to let go of old identities, old stories about yourself and your life. For many, their current circumstances, no matter how unpleasant, have become a familiar comfort zone. The energy shift challenges you to step out of this comfort zone, to embrace a new identity, a new story. This is why persistence is so crucial in this practice. The old energy patterns, reinforced over years or even lifetimes, do not dissolve overnight. They require consistent, conscious effort to replace. But with each choice to maintain your new energy state, you weaken the old patterns and strengthen the new. As you persist in this practice, you'll begin to notice a profound shift, not just in your outer circumstances, but in your entire way of being in the world. You'll find yourself more centered, more peaceful, more confident. You'll develop a deep trust in the perfection of life's unfolding, a knowing that all is well regardless of outer appearances. This inner peace, this unshakable faith, is perhaps the greatest gift of the energy shift, for it frees you from the constant anxiety and striving that characterizes so much of human existence. It allows you to live fully in the present moment, enjoying the journey even as you move towards your desired destination. But let me caution you, this practice is not about achieving a state of perpetual bliss or eliminating all challenges from your life. Life By its very nature, is a dynamic interplay of energies. There will always be new desires arising, new heights to reach for. The purpose of this practice is not to reach a final destination, but to master the art of conscious creation, to become a deliberate participant in the unfolding of your life. As you become more adept at this energy shift, you'll find that your desires themselves begin to change, no longer driven by lack or fear. You'll find yourself moved by inspiration, by a desire to express more of your true essence, to contribute more fully to the world around you. This is the natural evolution of consciousness, the expansion of your being that occurs as you align more fully with your true nature. Now let us address a question that often arises as one delves deeper into this practice. What about collective realities? What about global events or circumstances that seem beyond individual control? How does the energy shift apply in these situations? First, understand that collective realities are nothing more than the sum total of individual consciousness. As you shift your own energy, you contribute to the shift of the collective. Never underestimate the power of one individual holding a higher vibration. Like a tuning fork, you have the power to influence the vibration of those around you. Moreover, your experience of collective events is still filtered through your individual consciousness. Two people can experience the same external event in radically different ways depending on their inner state. By maintaining your energy shift, you can navigate even challenging collective circumstances with grace and ease. This is not about turning a blind eye to the problems of the world. It's about approaching these issues from a higher state of consciousness, from a place of solution rather than problem. As you maintain your energy shift, you become a beacon of possibility, inspiring others to rise above limiting beliefs and destructive patterns. Remember, the outer world is a reflection of inner states of consciousness. As more individuals master this energy shift, we will see profound changes in our collective reality. This is how true, lasting change occurs, not through force or struggle, but through a fundamental shift in consciousness. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to emphasize a crucial point. The energy shift we've been exploring is not a technique to be used occasionally when you want something. It is a way of life, a fundamental shift in how you relate to reality itself. This shift requires a willingness to question everything you believed about the nature of reality, about cause and effect, about the limits of what's possible. It challenges you to step fully into your power as a creative being, to take full responsibility for your experience of life. But with this responsibility comes incredible freedom. For when you truly grasp that your outer world is a reflection of your inner state, you free yourself from victimhood. You no longer need to wait for circumstances to change or for others to behave differently. You have within you right now the power to shift your energy and transform your entire experience of life. This is the promise and the challenge of the energy shift. It offers you nothing less than total freedom, total creative control over your life experience. But it also demands your full commitment, your unwavering faith, your persistent practice. As you leave here tonight, I encourage you to begin implementing this practice immediately. Don't wait for the perfect moment or for all conditions to be right. Start now in this very moment to shift your energy to the state of your wish fulfilled. Feel the reality of your desire as if it were already accomplished. Let this feeling permeate your being, color your perceptions, guide your actions. Remember, this is not about forcing or struggling. It's about opening yourself to the natural flow of creative energy that is your birthright. Trust in the process. Have faith in the unseen reality of your imagination, and watch in wonder as your outer world begins to align with your inner state. You are far more powerful than you've been led to believe. You are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of your reality. The energy shift we've explored tonight is your key to unlocking this creative power, to stepping fully into your role as the author of your life story. So go forth with confidence, with joy, with an unshakable knowing that as you shift your energy, you shift your reality. Embrace this truth, live it fully, and watch as miracles unfold in your life. For in truth, there are no limits to what you can be, do, or have when you master the art of the energy shift. Remember, your imagination is the gateway to infinite possibility. Use it wisely, reasonably. Use it with the full knowledge that what you imagine with feeling, with faith, must inevitably manifest in your experience. This is the law. This is the promise. This is the magnificent truth of your being. You are the operant power in your world. You are the one who decides what energies you will entertain, what states you will occupy. Choose wisely, choose deliberately, choose with the knowledge that every choice is a creative act shaping the very fabric of your reality. As you practice this energy shift, you'll find that life becomes an exciting adventure, a joyous exploration of your own creative power. You'll approach each day with eager anticipation, wondering what new miracles will unfold as you continue to align your energy with your desires. But remember, this is not about accumulating more possessions or achieving external markers of success. The true gift of this practice is the inner transformation it brings about. As you master the art of the energy shift, you'll discover a deep sense of peace, a profound trust in the perfection of life's unfolding. You'll find yourself moving through life with greater ease and grace, unshaken by the ups and downs that once would have thrown you off balance. This inner stability, this unshakable faith in your own creative power, is the foundation from which true miracles spring. It allows you to remain centered and focused on your desired state even when outer circumstances seem to contradict it. This is the test of your faith. And as you pass it again and again, you'll find your manifesting power growing exponentially. As you continue to practice the energy shift, you'll notice that your desires themselves begin to evolve. No longer driven by lack or fear, you'll find yourself moved by inspiration, by a desire to express more of your true essence, to contribute more fully to the world around you. This is the natural evolution of consciousness, the expansion of your being that occurs as you align more fully with your creative power. Remember, the energy shift is not a destination, but a journey. It's a continuous process of aligning your energy with your highest vision for yourself and your life. There will always be new heights to reach, new aspects of yourself to explore and express. Embrace this journey with joy and enthusiasm, knowing that each shift brings you closer to the full expression of your divine potential. In closing, I urge you to take this knowledge and apply it diligently in your life. Don't just believe these words, test them, live them, prove them to yourself through your own experience. For it is only through your own direct experience that these truths will become alive in you, transforming not just your outer circumstances, but your very being. Go forth and create, for the world is waiting for the unique expression that only you can bring. Your energy shift is not just for you, but for the entire world that will be uplifted by your transformed presence.